Hey there everyone, this is your host Scotty and welcome back to Anime Studio Simulator. Let's go on ahead, see what this week can bring us. I've been experimenting with composing music by using the storyboards as a reference. Between that and handling the voice actors, it looks like I'll be busy for a while. Actually, is everyone looking all right now? Oh yeah, that's a lot better actually. Okay. You won't have a chance to visit Zekoi Studios with you. I won't have a time to visit with you anytime soon. I should be fine myself, even though it's nicer to have you with me. Alright, if no one needs anything, I'll be heading over now. Bye. Bye. Oh, what's this? There's an art festival this week and Rosetta's playing? Cool, I love that group. It's a special draw for people who attend in pairs. That's it. I'm taking someone with me. Now that I know I'm taking someone... Who was it? It was... Yuko, I think. Okay, so let's skip this, because we've seen this before. Yukari informed the director in advance of her visit, so this time he was waiting for her when she arrived. Hello, I'm here to check up on the current progress for Blaze Chaser Conspiracy. Do you have anything new to show me? Of course. Let's sit down at the table way over there. While I set up the laptop and show you the new keyframes. Check this. Oh yeah, it's definitely looking a bit better now. By the way, would you like coffee or tea? I'll have some tea, thank you. He looks towards the reception desk. Could you get some tea for Yukari? The staff member nods and disappears into the studio. Here are the finished keyframes for the first episode of Blaze Chaser Conspiracy. What do you think? The story is correct, but the presentation is too grim, which in turn makes the lighthearted moments feel awkward and out of place. Later scenes jump around so much, it gives Yukari a headache trying to follow the story, and she made the storyboard. Something is definitely wrong. Wait a minute, this doesn't look like what I gave you. Are you sure this is the right thing? She doesn't know the answer he can possibly have made this. She doesn't know what answer he could possibly have made this better. It's not like the animation studio would have worked on something completely different just for fun, and it's too close from being a different show. What in the world is going on? Of course I am. We used your storyboards as a reference down to the very last detail. However, they weren't very clear at times. Didn't we discuss it when you came in for the consultation? Well, that's right. Sweat beads from the back of her neck. I fixed up the storyboards and brought them back. They shouldn't look like this. Calm down. I can get the storyboards for you to look at, and we'll figure it out what went wrong. Yes, please do. Perhaps it's a case of miscommunication. Give me a moment while I head back to my desk, grab the files. He walks to the door behind the reception desk and disappears inside. Once the director leaves, Hikari takes a few deep breaths to calm down. No matter whose fault the problem is, she's in trouble. They can't use those keyframes for Blaze Chaser Conspiracy. Some will be salvageable, but most of Zekoi Studios' work was in vain. That sucks, actually. Holy shit. I did not expect it to go so down south. It just plummeted like a damn asteroid. It'll set them a whole week behind schedule and probably force them to dip into their funds even further. If only I checked up on the studio a lot more last week, maybe I could have prevented this. Shit. What could have happened? Maybe one of the others has an idea. She pulls out her phone and tries to decide who to ask. Shunsuke? Yes? Hey Shunsuke, I'm a bit of a bind over here. We seem to have a case of miscommunication between us and Zekoi. What sort of miscommunication? They produced the wrong keyframes, but the director says they followed the storyboards. Do you have any idea how this could have happened? Alright, try to calm down. Give me a moment to think this through. Okay. She tries to compose herself, but the silence on how the other end is deafening. Her heart feels like it's going to explode. How can Shunsuke sound so calm? Are the differences drastic? Could you have somehow given them the draft storyboards instead of the finalized ones? I don't know. She takes a deep breath and tries to concentrate. It's possible. If they worked on a draft without my instructions, I can see resulting in the keyframes they made, but how? Try to recall everything that happened between finishing the storyboards and taking them to the studio. Did anything significant occur? Anything unusual? It's difficult to focus on pounding of her heart, but Yukari forces herself to. She bumped into one of the girls. She worked on the storyboards on Wednesday. On Thursday, she signed the contract with the studio. On Friday, she spoke to Yuko and Sumiko about their questions directed. She gathered the file she needed to take to the studio and... Damn! What is it? Right before I went to the studio that day, I knocked into Sumiko near her desk. The papers she was carrying fell everywhere. We must have gotten our files mixed up. But how? When we started on the storyboards, we asked Yuko and Sumiko for feedback, remember? If they left some draft storyboards on her desk. I see what you mean. What a mess. I hope you can resolve this issue with Zekoi Studios. Let us know if you need any help. Thanks, I'll see what I can do. Just as she finishes her conversation with Shunsuke, the director returns. Here are the storyboards. While the directions were a bit vague, we tried to follow them exactly. Yukari takes a look at them, and to her horror, her suspicions was right. Not only do they lack her painstaking notes and instructions, they aren't even the version she showed the director during the consultation. She mixed up the storyboards when she collided with Sumiko that day. She opens her mouth to explain, but she can't find the words. How can they solve this problem? They can't go to the keyframes. They can't go with the keyframes they have currently. That would be a disaster. Deadlines can't be adjusted, so they have to either increase production speed or find freelancers instead. Either solution would require them to spend even more funds on animation. Maybe they'll run out of funds and not be able to produce the show at all. Yukari takes a few deep breaths and tries to calm down. It sounds as though she has the situation under control, even though she's screaming, crying, or both. She feels like she's screaming, crying, or both. I'm afraid there's been a mistake. I accidentally gave you the draft storyboards, which are totally different from the main storyboards. We can't use these keyframes. Since we're on a tight deadline to finish Blaze Chaser Conspiracy, would it be possible for your team to speed up the animation work once I get you the proper storyboards? Otherwise, we won't be able to make it in time to show the air on TV. Her voice sounds distant, as if it's coming from far away. She's almost impressed at how calm she sounds. That is a bit tough. Wow. That sucks, actually. Shit. That explains why the storyboards will seem so unclear. We can speed up the animation work, although we have to charge an additional fee. How much? 15. She almost accepts, but bites her tongue. It's a large sum of money, and while she can't see the other solution, it isn't the sort of decision she can make on her own. She's caused enough problems already. Okay, I'll have to discuss this with my team members first. I understand. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss now? No, thank you. Thank you for showing me the storyboards. I'm really sorry this happened, but we'll find a way to work it out. The words ring hollow in her ears. Find a way? What way? There's no good way out of this, and she has no one to blame but herself. She trudges to out of Zekoi Studios with a heavy heart. Each step weighs down further. How can she face her team after this? How can she look at them in the eyes and tell them Blaze Chaser Conspiracy might be doomed because of her mistake? Yukari sighs. Maybe she doesn't have the right to be the director of the show after all. No, mistakes happen all the time, I would think. Look at Dragon Ball Super. Look at what happened at that show. The animation looks fantastic now, but very beginning, the show looked bad. So terrible, and it's bad. When Yukari arrives at the studio, her friends greet her at the door. She walks inside with a sigh. Their anxious questions bounce off her as she struggles to find a way to explain the situation. Maybe she could say it in a way that doesn't sound so bad. So, how did it go? All of Yukari's hopes for a neat, tidy explanation vanished. It's a disaster. We're 1 week behind schedule due to my stupidity. What happened? Your guess was right then. She nods mutely. Once again, feeling like she might cry, she let them all down. I'm sorry, everyone. I gave Zekoi Studio the draft of storyboards draft studio storyboards by mistake. All the animation work they did last week was all for nothing, and now she trails off and shakes her head. It won't happen again, I promise. She sighs, but how can she convince him if she didn't believe it herself? Between voice acting, music, and marketing, there's so many ways she could screw up. She has no grounds to promise them anything now. Okay, when you want to make sure you don't repeat a mistake, you have to understand the cause. How does this happen in the first place? Yukari can't answer. The incident that day replays in her mind over and over. If she just paid attention to where she was going, they wouldn't be in this mess. The silence stretches on until Shusuke intervenes to explain. Right before Yukari took the storyboards to the studio, there was a mix-up. The papers were accidentally shuffled. Wait, you don't mean when we ran into each other, do you? Yes. Oh no, I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. We went through this, remember? You were standing still, I just zoned out and crashed into you. Nevertheless, Sumiko seems distraught. Don't you remember? You wanted to go through the pages one last time. And I said we already checked them not that long ago. So there was no point. If I let you check, I'm the director. I should have looked things over again anyways. I should have trusted my instincts. Oh no, this is my fault too. Yuko, already quiet voice, drops almost to a whisper. I filed the drafts on Monday. If I looked more closely at them, I'd have realized they weren't the right ones. But I didn't. Because I thought they were what they were. I'm sorry. No, don't blame yourself. Now both artists look depressed, which makes Yukari feel even worse. The brunt of the error rests on her. She didn't even mean to make them feel guilty. Alright, everyone, enough of this. There's no sense of moping around the studio. Yukari, what can we do? Yeah, let's get to work, because we don't want to screw this up. I discussed it with the director of Zekoi Studios. We have to fork out a large sum of money in order to finish the show on time. She takes a deep breath. And even if we pay the extra fee, I'm not sure we can make it on time unless Yuko and Sumiko work overtime until the show is back on schedule. I'm really sorry about this. Yukari bows her head and apologizes profusely to everyone. No matter who shares the blame, she's mostly responsible. A director shouldn't make oversights that lead her team members working overtime. Wow, being director's stressful. I never realized. Like, I guess it makes sense considering Shirobako, because there was a lot of stressful moments in that show. But it's not like she can compensate them either. They never even had enough funds for salaries, which feels especially painful when she asks them to work extra. Cheer up, Yukari. Nobody expected these things to end up this way. We'll be fine working overtime to catch up. Yeah, don't be hard on yourself. If I checked, but I'm the director. I handed over files to the animation studio without knowing for sure what they were. How could I have been so stupid? Didn't any of you hear me? We can't change what happened. It's no use crying over spilt milk, as they say. Yukari jumps, startled by her friend's sudden shout. Mayumi isn't as quiet as Yuko, but it's rare to hear her raise her voice in frustration. Stop it, all of you. Let's look at the bright side. What bright side? We haven't encountered any major obstacles since we started working on the show. This is the first one. You're right. It's almost like we were due. So let's not be too disheartened. We'll make it work out. Indeed. And as for the cost you mentioned, did you negotiate with the director about it? No, why? Most of the time, companies state a higher price than what they actually expected to get, to leave room for negotiation. We should be able to seal the deal about 20% off the price he told you. Wow, if what you're saying is true, then it's worth a try. We haven't finalized the deal yet, right, Yukari? Yukari nods, relieved that she didn't accept the offer right away. We can try, but how do I negotiate with them? I'm clueless about things like this. I can help you. I'll teach you the skills you need to successfully negotiate a better deal. You're a lifesaver. We better get back to work. We don't have time to waste. Oh, shit. Yukari cringes and wishes again she checked the storyboards one last time before handing them over. But at least Yuko safely filed them away. If she was in the habit of discarding drafts instead, it would have been a nightmare. On the other hand, the old drafts wouldn't have been there to mix up with the final storyboards. Let me know when you're ready, Yukari. Don't rush. Take time to compose yourself. Yukari bites back an irritated retort. He's right. While she doesn't want to waste time, she's not in any sort of state to learn about negotiation. She doesn't want to negotiate. She wants to turn back the clock to undo this mistake before it happens. Not an option. Unless someone has built a time machine since yesterday. She half expects the comment to prompt a story from Sumiko about the time travel rumors or a lecture from Shunsuke about infeasibility of such a thing, but no one says anything. The studio is silent, and tense as everyone works. Yukari sits down at her desk and tries to focus on the positives. Blaze Chaser Conspiracy hasn't completely fallen apart yet. Well, that's something. That is indeed something. By afternoon, she feels a little better and marches to Shunsuke's desk. I'm ready. Are you sure? I'm as ready as I'm going to be, and the only thing that will make me feel better is a sense of progress, which right now means learning how to get us a better deal. One of the most important rules of negotiating is to keep a cool head. In other words, don't yell like that. He sounds as infuriatingly calm as ever. Yukari resists the urge to grab him and shake him until he shows an appropriate level of distress over the situation. Okay, I'm calm. Shunsuke teaches Yukari some basic negotiation skills. She needs to find a good balance for the price so the director won't reject her offer outright, while putting it in a comfortable range for their budget. Ideally, her price will leave room for him to give a counteroffer. Persuasive speech is also important. Numbers aren't everything. You need to sound as confident and self-assured. So basically the exact opposite of how I feel right now. Yes, you need to calm down before you try to make a deal. Relax. It's not the end of the world. But it might be the end of Blaze Chaser Conspiracy. Stop that. You will doom the deal if you go in with a bad attitude. I'll probably doom it anyway. No, you won't. Come on, think positively. I just can't be optimistic right now. I'm sorry. I don't think I can pull this off. Yukari shrugs listlessly and returns to her desk. How's her... Okay, so everyone's stress level's not up there. Sure. In the silence that follows, a gloomy atmosphere falls over the studio. What should Yukari focus on today?